Thank you to Ms. Craig for having us here today. We're going to be talking about mental health in AP psychology specifically. Okay, so a little bit about us is we're a social media campaign for HOSA that advocates for mental health and discusses the consequences of perfectionism and like the fear of rejection, etc. We are attempting to raise awareness of the significance of mental health, especially in AP psychology, since your guys' units kind of align with our values as well. And that's why we're here today, as we believe that it is closely linked to the field of psychology. So what is mental and physical health, which is unified for you guys? Mental health is a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we feel and behave, and some key factors include emotional stability, cognitive function, and social wellness. Additionally, physical health is the condition of the body and its ability to perform physical functions. Key factors include exercise, nutrition, and sleep. So does anybody have any experiences that they face that are interconnected between physical and mental health?
Yeah.
Does anyone want to say
What are they?
What are they?
Wait, what's the question again? Sorry.
Give us an example of how physical and mental health are connected.
Yeah.
So the gym, you gotta learn discipline. You know, some people start going to the gym, they lose motivation. It takes discipline to stay in the gym. You know what I'm trying to say?
I agree.
Okay, I agree with the part of exercise. So exercise is a part of physical health.
Yeah, of course.
And when you work out, you get a lot of endorphins to your brain that makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
You can think more clearly, and yeah, links
That's a good
physical
point.
and mental health. Also, we're gonna have a trivia at the end of this, so if you guys pay attention, you can get
Okay,
candy.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so one thing we're also going to learn about in this unit that we're going to go over very briefly is stress. So stress can either be perceived as positive and motivating, or it could be negative and oppressive and overwhelming. The formal definition of stress is the process by which we perceive and respond to specific events known as stressors, which we might view as challenging or motivating. Something that you guys can think about is the Yerkes-Dodson law, which is the relationship between your stress and your performance. And it basically shows when your stress increases, your performance increases as well. Coping strategies for stress is self-affirmations, which Ms. Cracchiola went over in the beginning of the year.
Yes, I remember.
Meditation and deep breathing, and seeking support from others.
So positive psychology and well-being. Positive psychology is the study of how people can thrive and live fulfilling lives. And there's 3 pillars to this. The first one is positive well-being, which is your satisfaction with your past and present self, and also your optimism for your future. The second one is positive traits, and this one is where you use your specific trait that is, strong to you, and you create a meaningful and fulfilling life. We all have different strengths and we all have different weaknesses. So if you're able to use your own strength to create something positive out of your life, that's what positive traits is. And the third one is positive groups, communities, and cultures, which is kind of self-explanatory, but it's basically creating healthy connections in your life, with whether it's at school with friends or teachers, or at home with your family. The third one is just about healthy connections. Relative deprivation is comparing yourself to someone else and feeling like you're worse off. So instead of comparing yourselves to other people, we should practice gratitude so we can feel positive emotions, and this will build up meaningful skills like resilience, and it will improve mental well-being.
Okay, so we're also going to learn about psychological disorders, which is basically a disorder that affects your thoughts, emotions, and the behavior of an individual, which in turn causes distress and affects their daily life. So examples of disorders include depression, bipolar disorder, eating disorders, which we learned about last unit, generalized anxiety disorder, insomnia, and OCD, and others. And although we do talk about perfectionism in our campaign, and although it's not considered a psychological disorder, it does correlate and connect to OCD. And people who suffer from psychological disorders are more likely to engage in self-harm and have suicidal ideations than those who do not have disorders.
So treatments and therapies. Obviously there's a lot of therapies and treatments for mental health conditions and mental health disorders, but we have a few examples here. The first one is exposure therapy, which is basically exposing yourself to your fears or something that you're avoiding so you can overcome that fear. Aversive conditioning does the opposite and associates an unpleasant state with an unwanted behavior. So for example, if someone has a problem with nail biting, then a therapist can tell them to wear like nail polish that doesn't taste that well, which which would associate an unpleasant state with an unwanted behavior. The third one is cognitive behavior therapy, which is changing one's thought patterns and behavior to overcome a mental challenge. And psychopharmacology is the study of how medication affects the brain and our behaviors. And drugs are usually used alongside with therapy. And some examples include antidepressants, mood stabilizers, and antipsychotics.
Why mental health matters, why mental health awareness or promotion matters. Because first, it can contribute to more open conversations and it can break the stigma and misconceptions within our community. Mental health awareness also informs us with topics like coping strategies so that if we do face any mental health struggles or challenges, we know how to fix them. Suicide and self-harm can be prevented through mental health awareness, which basically is just having the necessary resources of being aware of the situation. It can improve and strengthen your relationships with those around you, and you will better understand the association or the connection between your physical health and your mental health.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
We're gonna have a trivia, and whoever gets it right,
They
wins
get
it.
candy. And you guys have to raise your hands.
No shouting it out. We're not.
So we can know who to get the candies to. The first question is, which is a key factor of mental health?
Roshan. No.
Mental health. I actually don't know who raised their hand.
Who raised their hand first?
It was me.
I think it was Jen. I think it was Jen. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, you guys have to show it though.
Oh, did we
Oh, my.
actually?
So can I get one?
second one, please? My bad.
Okay, yeah. Let's just skip that one. Pretend no one ever saw it.
We have 6 questions, so we don't have to.
Okay.
Go ahead. Name one example of a coping strategy for stress. One strategy. There's multiple.
Meditation.
Yeah, meditation.
You want me to- Nah, I'm not doing that.
Okay, we can do the next question.
Yeah. Next one is, what's the term for comparing yourself to someone else and feeling like you are worse off?
Yes. She got it. Relative definition.
I like that. Go to the
Next one.
And
Can I get my piece?
the last one is, which psychological disorder does
not one.
correlate to the most?
We went
I think I
over.
saw
that.
it. Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Who?
Or in the back. Can you raise your hand again?
Where?
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I
They
got
all
an
kind of said
answer.
OCD.
I said.
Yeah. That's okay.
You can give it to me.
Please.
You can give it to me. Just give it
Give
to me.
food to who?
Give it to me.
Give it. Here. Here, come.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Jalen, here you go. Jalen, actually, no, you get two.
Okay, there's one more.
There's 6 questions. Ready?
I said it louder.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're not done. One more. What therapy associates an unpleasant state with an unwanted action to reduce a behavior? Aversion. Yeah, you got it. And then I think there's one more.
And the last one is, why is mental health awareness important?
It can help save lives.
To get rid of the stigma.
Okay, yeah, they both got it.
Nice one.
All right, show the next one.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for participating in our presentation. And if you guys want to support our work, we have our link tree to our social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, our podcast, and our website. So, yeah. Thank you guys. Good job. So this presentation is about mental health and how it's connected to AP psychology. And my name is Vanessa Liu.
I'm Adil Rana, and Maya Patel is currently not here, but
She's here in spirit.
yeah, she's here to speak. Okay, so about our HOSA campaign, so we are a social media campaign for HOSA that advocates for mental health and discusses the consequences of perfectionism. Our whole point of our social media campaign is to raise awareness of the significance of mental health, and the whole point of doing this is to raise awareness of the significance of mental health in AP psychology classes today, as we believe that AP psychology kind of correlates to mental health.
Okay, and the next unit we're going to be learning in AP Psychology this week is Unit 5, which is mental and physical health. So we felt like it was pretty connected to what our campaign was about, spreading mental health awareness. And what exactly is mental health? It's the person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and it affects how we feel and behave. And some key factors include emotional stability, cognitive function, and social wellness. And physical health is the condition of the body and its ability to perform physical functions. And some key factors include exercise, nutrition, and sleep. And physical and mental health are very much connected. Can anyone think of a specific example where they correlate and affect each other?
Like when you exercise, like you're typically happier, or like
Yeah.
reduce stress.
Exactly. When you're exercising, when you're moving your body, you get endorphins in your body. It makes you feel better, it makes you think clearer, and yeah, that's how they're connected.
Lily, were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say like sleep makes you feel better and less overwhelmed and more awake and aware.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so stress is also going to be something that we're going to learn about in this unit as well. So stress can be perceived as either positive and motivating or negative and oppressive and overwhelming. So the formal definition of stress is basically the process by which we perceive and respond to certain events or respond to specific events known as stressors, which we might view as either motivating or challenging, like I said. Something that you guys might want to think about is the Yerkes-Dodson law, which we learned last unit. It's basically the correlation between stress and performance. And it basically shows how the higher stress you have, the better performance that you will do. If that makes sense. And what are some coping strategies for stress? We thought self-affirmations because Ms. Cracchiolo discussed that with us in the beginning of the year. We also thought meditation, deep breathing, and also seeking support from others who have experienced similar circumstances.
So positive psychology and well-being. Positive psychology is the study of how people can thrive and live fulfilling lives. And there's 3 pillars to this. The first one is positive well-being, which is your satisfaction with your present self, your past self, and your optimism for the future. The next one is positive traits, and this is how you can use your own traits and qualities, whether it's like leadership or art or athleticism, whatever strength that you have to create a meaningful and purposeful life. And the third one is positive groups, communities, and cultures, which is kind of self-explanatory, but it's about creating a healthy relationship with the people around you, whether it's at school, at home, with teachers, friends, family. And relative deprivation is comparing yourself to someone else and feeling like you're worse off. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, let's try to be positive and practice gratitude. And these positive emotions will build up meaningful skills and build up skills like resilience and also improve mental well-being.
So another thing that we're going to learn about too is psychological disorders, and that's basically when your thoughts, emotions, it's basically a disorder where your thoughts, emotions, or behavior of a person causes distress and affects your daily life. So examples of the psychological disorder include depression, bipolar disorder, eating disorders, which we learned last unit, generalized anxiety disorder, insomnia, OCD, and others. And we do talk about perfectionism in our social media campaign, and although it's not considered a psychological disorder, it still does correlate and connect to OCD, which is a psychological disorder. And people who suffer from these disorders are more likely to engage in self-harm and suicidal ideations than those who do not have any disorders at all.
Treatments and therapies. So there's a lot of treatments and therapies, but we're gonna go over a few today. And one of them includes exposure therapy, and this is where you're exposed to something that you're fearful of or something that you're avoiding so you can overcome this mental obstacle. The next one is aversive conditioning, and this does the opposite and associates an unpleasant state with an unwanted behavior. So for example, if someone has a problem with biting their nails, a therapist might tell them to put on nail polish that doesn't taste well, and this kind of associates an unpleasant state with an unwanted behavior. And the next one is cognitive behavior therapy, which is changing one's thought patterns and behaviors to overcome a mental obstacle. The next one is psychopharmacology, which is the study of how medication affects the brain and our behavior. And drugs are usually used alongside with therapy, and some examples include antidepressants, mood stabilizers, and antipsychotics.
So just more background information on why mental health promotion or awareness matters. So mental health awareness can stop the stigma and the misconceptions going around within our community, and it can normalize more open conversations about mental health. Mental health awareness also informs us of topics like coping strategies. So like, just in case we are struggling mentally, we do have like coping strategies, and we are prepared to better our mental health and to fix it. Suicide and self-harm can be prevented through mental health awareness by having the right resources and having the right awareness of it. Mental health awareness can improve and strengthen your relationships by showing greater empathy towards them, and you will better understand the association between physical and mental health once you are better with it.
Yep. And this is the end. If you guys have any questions, you can speak up now, or we can start our trivia. And there's 6 questions.
You guys ready for the trivia?
Trivia it is.
Okay, and
Everyone
we're
said
raising
candy.
hands. We're raising hands for this, so we know
Okay.
who would give candy to. The first question is, which is a key factor of mental health? Exercise, nutrition, cognitive function, or sleep? Lily?
Cognitive function.
Yeah. Good job.
I pay attention.
The next question is, name one example of a coping strategy for stress. It's easy.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow, we got some sore losers in here. Class.
Question 3. What's the term for comparing yourselves to someone else and feeling like you're worse off?
Relative comparison? Relative, I forgot.
You're really close.
I'm so close.
Can anyone
already.
help?
Relative deprivation.
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, he listens to
It's okay.
This is my first.
You got it. Okay. The next question is, which psychological disorder does perfectionism correlate to the most?
OCD.
Yeah. Good job.
Alright, just me again.
Does anyone want these? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't pass these out.
Okay. The next question is, what therapy associates an unpleasant state with unwanted actions reducing behavior?
I kind of forgot this one. I can't.
I remember.
Oh
it.
yeah,
I
okay.
remember.
Was it like opposite?
Pretty close.
I remember it, I just don't remember what it's called. It's the nail biting one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It starts with the A. Yeah. Aversive conditioning. Good job. And the last question, why is mental health awareness important? There's many.
It can help us when we get to a point where we're struggling with our mental health, be more aware of the mechanisms so that we can help ourselves before it gets too bad.
Yeah, good job.
Beautiful answer.
There's like multiple reasons. So do we want to get 2 more people to give another reason?
Okay.
You guys remember any other reason?
Tina, do you want to give an answer?
Zena's busy right now.
Wow.
Zena's busy and being your kid. Zena's not doing anything.
Oh, you
No.
got it? Yeah.
Zena's ass is so fat, it made me so distracted during this presentation. How many of you think Zena's ass is fat?
You want to support our
Drop a like and let us know in the
Support
comments
our
below.
link
And subscribe if Zena has a fat ass.
You guys are not done.
If you guys want to support our work, this is our link tree where we just raise mental health awareness. This is where our website, our Instagram, YouTube pages for our podcast. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and being a part of our campaign.
Amazing.
Thank you.